When you are a criminal, you are locked up in a cell, you have very limited contacts with the outside world, and if you make it out, you have to go through a sort of reintegration process in order to get back to a normal life. Well, cancer patients have it the same. When I was 13, I got diagnosed with leukemia, and after lots of doodling to explain what was going on inside of my body, the doctor held my hands, looked at me straight in the eyes and told me, Lena, this is going to take an awful lot of time. This is going to be awful. But eventually, you will make it out and you will go back to having a normal life. And that's what I was holding on to when I was doing my time in that cell. I was sentenced to 6 weeks in that cell, including 1 week of solitary confinement. And after that, I still had about a year of back and forth at the hospital with treatments and still not allowed to go back to school. During those 6 weeks, I had chemotherapy, I had bone marrow puncture every week, and I had very limited visits. But even in my worst days where I was depressed, I was crying, I was just thinking, you know what, this is fine because it's temporary, and eventually I will go back to my normal life. Also, during those 6 weeks, I had to cut my hair shorter. Before that picture, I had hair like down to here, and we were told that if I had shorter hair, it would be easier for me to process going bald. So my mom cut my hair, and as she was doing so, she was crying. But I wasn't. I just told her, you know what, it's just hair, and it's gonna grow back eventually, and it will make it back to normal. After those 6 weeks, I still had a lot of back and forth at the hospital. I still had to take about 15 pills a day, and I still could not go back to school. But then again, you know, even at the worst times, I was like, it's fine, it's okay. I will go back to school, I will go back to normal, and it's gonna be fine, you know. So when I finally made it to school again, I was so excited. I was so happy. I was like, finally, this is where I want to be. This is finally what I had been hoping for. And from now on, I'm going to feel normal. But that didn't happen. I didn't feel normal at all. And that's because I had forgotten one thing. I was aware that, you know, I had to be in a cell. I was aware that I was going to have limited contact with the outside world. But I didn't know I would have to go through this reintegration process. And I didn't realize how I was going to feel when I went back to school. So I was there, and everything had changed. How could I feel normal when my body wasn't normal? But I only truly realized that it didn't look normal when I saw my friends and how they were looking at me. They remembered me looking like this. And after a year of treatments, I looked like this. And it's from the shock on their faces that I could tell, well, my body has changed. I had lost my hair, I had gained weight, I had scars and stretch marks, you know. And on top of that, my body had changed in the sense that I was constantly tired, I was feeling weak, and my immune system was very low. And that's another thing. How could I feel normal when I was placed in this cancer bubble? Because everything became a threat to my health. A door handle was a threat. My own pets were a threat. Or even eating lettuce became a threat to my life. So all I was allowed to do was either go to school or come home and work 10 extra hours a day to catch up with what I had missed from my classmates. And I was just in this bubble, and even my classmates became a threat to my health. So the first day of school, I had to come and give out papers stating that, hey, I have cancer, therefore, if you get sick or your siblings get sick, you need to call my mom to let her know so I can take preventive medication. So for the students that didn't know me, they knew I had cancer before they even knew my name. And I started being branded as a cancer girl. And again, how could I feel normal when people didn't treat me like a normal person, but as a cancer girl? You know, like in the corridors, I had people looking away because they were scared to stare. Or I had people telling me that I should go see the movie The Fault in Our Stars only because it talked about teenage cancer patients. And I don't blame them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It just made me feel even more that I was an outcast and that I was branded as the cancer girl. And also I had those people telling me, oh, now that you made it out, you must be truly appreciating life, you know? You must be so proud and enjoying every single minute. But I wasn't. And because they were telling me that, I started feeling extremely guilty. Because I was thinking, well, yeah, they're right, you know? I'm finally where I wanted to be. This is what I had been dreaming of all this time. So why am I not appreciating? What am I doing wrong? And this just went in my head until I got into a depression. Pretty bad. I was very depressed, and it came to a point where I was like, well, now you've got two choices. Either you give up on everything, or you take a break, you think about what went wrong, and you start learning from it. Which is what I did. So here are 5 things that I've learned through this reintegration process. Number 1, it's okay not to be okay. Once I had accepted that I was depressed, it was easier for me to seek the help of a psychologist. Then it was easier for me to also accept that this dream of school had become my personal nightmare and that I needed to take a break. So I took 2 months off, and that's when I was able to pinpoint what went wrong and how to eventually fix it. Number 2 is focus on what can be changed. Just like anything in life, there are stuff you cannot change. I could not change that I had to take 15 pills a day or that I had to go back and forth for treatments and for checkups, but I could focus on something else in the meantime. I decided to focus on my body image because I didn't like how my body looked like after the treatments, but I could act on it. For this one, I had the help of my best friend. He knew I didn't like how I looked like, so he started pushing me to go swimming because he knew that this would be an easier way for me to get back my muscles and lose weight. And the more I was swimming, the more I could swim longer and I could see the improvement on my body, and I started liking it. Also, a few months after that, the marathon came by in Luxembourg, and he was used to run the half marathon every year. He could sign up somebody to run the last 2 kilometers to encourage him towards the finish line. Guess who he signed up? And as much as I hated running, I still did it because I thought I owed him one. And after a few months of training, we made it to the finish line together. At that point, I had managed to lose quite some weight, and I was starting to finally appreciate how I look like. So the last step for me was to hide the fact that I had lost my hair. Because after the treatments, even though my hair grew back, it fell again because I developed alopecia, which is much less dangerous, but a lot more permanent. So to fix that, I started wearing a lot of makeup and a lot of wigs, just like this one, or even this one. I think I could be a pretty good spy. So number 3 is my favorite one, is be fun and have fun. When I say be fun, humor is an amazing tool. First of all, when you're laughing, you're in a great mood, and any doctor would tell you that a good mood is already half the battle done. On top of that, when you are laughing and when you're happy, people pick up on that, and you're just, spreading the good energy. And also, using self-humor is an amazing way to introduce something that usually is awkward. I love to introduce the fact that I'm wearing my wigs with humor. Usually, I tell someone, well, when I'm on a roller coaster, I never know if I should hold on to my life or to my wigs. And see people laugh to that one, and therefore they know that it's okay to talk about it. I'm totally fine talking about it. It's okay making fun of it, because I do too. And using humor, I had managed to find a way to transform something I used to be ashamed of into a positive, because now people laugh about it. And when I mean have fun is, what helped me a lot was finding a way to have fun at what I could do at that time. So I found a hobby that I could do from home since I was constantly stuck at home. In my case, it was baking. I loved baking, and the more I started baking, the more I enjoyed it, the better I got at it. And honestly, everybody around me loved it because it was delicious. Number 4 is don't judge. This one I guess I struggle with still today. But when I mean don't judge is don't judge yourself compared to others. Back then, I was in high school and I was comparing myself to all the other girls. And that was stupid because they had not been through what I went through. You know, my mother used to tell me, like, we box in a different category. And as much as I hated her for saying this all the time because, you know, I really wanted to look like all those girls, she was right. They did not go through what I went through. So how could their body look like mine and vice versa? What I should have done instead is compare myself to 5 months prior to that and see how much I had improved since then. And also when I say don't judge, is don't judge someone when you don't know what they've been through or where they come from. In my high school, we had an elevator, and I was taking it because my body was way too weak to take the stairs. But this was usually kept for people that had wheelchairs or broken their legs during the summer vacations. So every time I was taking the elevator, I could hear students that didn't know me complain that I was overusing it, or, you know, why is she even taking it? Because they could not see it. And I was not angry at them, you know, they just didn't know me. So I knew that, and I knew that if they knew, they would not be mean behind my back. But because I've been through this, I know never to judge without knowing what's up and what people have been through. Number 5 is be patient. And that works with anything in life. When I mean be patient, it can work for when you're at the doctor's office and you're waiting for your turn. And trust me, that's why they call you patience. Or whether it is in life in general, I had to be patient for my own body to recover, for my mind to recover, and simply to get where I am today and being truly appreciating where I am. So this is actually what happened to me after my cancer treatments. And I know that everyone is going to experience this probably differently according to their character, where they're from, their age, or even from the type of cancer they have. But I just have this feeling that if I had known during my treatments about this reintegration process, I would have probably accepted the reintegration just as well as I had accepted the rest of the treatments. And that's where the problem is. People don't know about the reintegration. You know, they just expect you that once you're out of the treatments, you're fine, it's okay, you're back to normal. But that's not it. And even if they know about it, we don't talk about it enough. So that's why I'm here. I hope that this talk is going to help the people that are getting out of their prison, either it's a mental prison or a physical one. I hope that it helps also the people, their friends and families who are trying to find ways to help them, just like I had so many people helping me during that time. And I hope that it helps move on and skip as much as possible this depressing phase I went through to go to truly appreciating the second chance we got. I'm in this place in my life where people know me better for me than for the fact that I had cancer. And things may never be 100% like they were before my treatments. But I don't care. I'm happy where I am today, and it may never be 100% normal, but this is normal enough for me. Thank you.